Welcome back. We continue live right here. It's the Island Contracting Nightly Sports Call on the Borders and Borders Hotline. Bob Pompeani and Gene Collier with you tonight. Good news again. Boy, the Steelers have gotten Players of the Week, Players of the Month. They lead the league in these kind of individual honors. And today, another one, this time for Le'Veon Bell, who was the Player of the Month for December. Second year in a row he's done that. And he didn't play all the games either. He missed one, but still 8 touchdowns. They're going to need a healthy Le'Veon Bell throughout these playoffs, and we'll see what happens as they begin a week from Sunday, and they get a chance to watch. Gene, your take on these 4 games that we see this weekend. What do you like?
Well, I think the Chiefs are certainly well positioned. I think the Bills and the Titans will have a difficult time, which means the Steelers will probably end up playing Jacksonville. In the other conference, I like the Rams. I do, and I guess I like the Saints at home.
Yeah, I like the Saints. I think the Saints are a team that can go a long way. At least I expect them to, based on what they have, because it's not just Drew Brees anymore. It's a good run game, and they have a pretty good defense too, given the how many points they score. Right. All right, let's go out to the lines tonight, and we'll begin with John in Greentree.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, man. How you doing, man?
Hi, John.
Kansas City is going to beat Tennessee. Who do you like in that game, Tennessee or Kansas City? Kansas City's going to want to beat Tennessee.
I think we both like the home team. Kansas City's just good there. They're playing better than they did at the beginning of the season. And Tennessee is a young team that hasn't had a lot of experience. That's a tough place, Gene, to play if you've never played there in a big game environment. That's not to say they can't win. It's just that I wouldn't expect them to win.
Yeah, I mean, it's the NFL. Nobody knows what's going to happen in these things. But, I mean, conventional wisdom would certainly indicate that it's going to be difficult for Tennessee. And it's going to be very difficult for Buffalo, too, especially if Shady McCoy can't play.
JB in Pittsburgh is next on the Sports Call. Hey, JB.
Oh, hey. How you guys tonight?
All right. What's going on?
All right. So I called the other night about this possible McCutchen deal maybe going to San Francisco. Mm-hmm. But Sabian has a way of giving us like garbage, but like the Astros, how they built their team, every one of their players, the bigger the moment, the higher their level of production.
And most of them were drafted.
So if we can get those types of guys off the Giants, I'm all for it. But if he gives us like these scrubs who just strike out.
Well, who would you want? Let me ask you, who would you want from the
San Francisco
Giants?
I don't know their system well enough, to be honest.
So in other words, this is going to come down to prospects only, and that's the problem.
That's fine, but you better get guys who are good in the clutch. Otherwise,
they're prospects. And until they're proven otherwise, they are still prospects. This is my problem with always trying to get prospects. And I realize, thanks for the call, JB, people get enamored with these names. But how many of them actually turn out to be really good players? The Pirates once had the best farm system in all of baseball based on Baseball America, Gene.
Oh, sure. And
what have we seen from it?
Yeah, this has been historically for me, I have very little interest in prospects. I just don't. I mean, until I see them at the major league level, I don't think anything's terribly relevant. That said, I agree with the caller. If they're going to move McCutchen, they have to get one of what would generally be recognized as 1 or 2 of the Giants' top 3 prospects. The problem potentially is that the Giants are trying to improve themselves defensively in center field, and Andrew McCutchen is probably not an improvement.
Will Knight on Twitter, and you can tweet us, as I said, at KD Pomp or at Gene Collier. Will says, Bob, one good thing that came from tonight's game was the play of Ryan Reeves. They were down 4-0, 2 minutes left. He's still out there grinding. Your thoughts? Well, honestly, I think, Will, that this has nothing to do with Ryan Reeves specifically, other than he does not fit in the way the Penguins have always wanted to play. Exactly. He's slower. He's a more physical player, and I think the league has caught up to the speed of the Penguins generally. I think there are a lot of young teams, and Carolina is one of them. Young, hungry, fast, win puck battles. There are a lot and I think the Penguins kind of set the bar in that direction, Gene, a couple of years ago with speed, speed, speed. Remember how many games they dominated? Even when they didn't win, they dominated games. We haven't seen that this year.
Yeah, the Penguins were really the equivalent of the Seattle Seahawks when they were at their best. I mean, they were just faster than everybody else. Ryan Reeves played, I think, 6 minutes tonight. He doesn't belong there. He doesn't do anything for that team. This occasional physicality. To me, that's worth nothing.
No, they need people to, and quite frankly, the stars need to be the stars too. Crosby has not had a good December, and beginning of January, Malkin is the same thing.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Bob, but ostensibly that's why Reeves is here, to let the stars be the stars.
And they're not being the stars.
They're doing anything but.
Do you think Jim Rutherford overreacted to what he perceived to be something?
Well, it's possible. I don't like to second guess anybody in Penguins management. I mean, they've won 2 consecutive Stanley Cups.
I'm not second. I'm just saying that trade didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, at the time, people seemed to like it, but I mean, that's old-time hockey. That doesn't work anymore.
Right. It was taking a step back a little bit, actually. Right. Let's go to JJ in Monroeville. Hey, JJ, how are you?
I'm doing good, gentlemen. How are you tonight?
Good, thanks. What's up?
Well, I agree with just about everything you just talked about. I'd like to say one thing, and to everybody out there, that on the first goal tonight, when Ian Cole was being accosted, did you see who the one player who was lollygagging his way through center ice on his way back into the zone?
Who? I was watching.
Number 87.
All right. Well, I was focused on.
Back to help Ian Cole.
I was focused more on Cole giving the puck up.
I'm going to have a free skate. This is the type of thing that happens to a team who's under 500. And that's all I have to say. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you. Hey, listen, I understand, too, the Penguins have been through an awful lot of hockey. But, I mean, they go into every season with the same expectations, and they're not going to buy that as an excuse, even though a lot of people may point it out. I get it. But at the same time, you can't allow that to be the way out and say, well, we're just tired, or anyone's just tired. That's just, it's not the way. Today, they got picked apart. They had no consistent game in the attack zone. Conversely, it was Carolina dictating terms again on home ice. Gene, this has become a disturbing thing on home ice. They come out with nothing in the first period. Their first periods have been bad all season long, and they talk about it. Today, words like urgency in the pregame skate and the morning skate were being used, and yet you don't see urgency when they come out.
No, you don't. You can have the same expectation and talk about it until you're blue in the face, but unless you have the same desire, it's not going to translate. The Penguins almost never, it seems to me, establish a consistent forecheck. They rarely have defensemen from every pairing joining the rush. They're never making the other team retreat, it seems to me. So, yeah, they've got problems, and they are great.
I've heard that before. Let's go to Duquesne. We got Steele on the line. What's up, Steele?
Hey, Yins, guys. How you doing tonight?
Good,
Happy
thanks.
New Year to Yins, too.
You too.
Hey, 2 things for Yins, guys. First, I wanted to see what you guys thought about the report of Belichick, Brady, and the Kraft group not being on the same page and this possibly being the last year together. It just was going to be released by ESPN. And then secondly, I wanted to know when Ron Cook would be on next, because I was wondering where he got that jacket from, if it was from the Bonton down in Washington.
You know what? They had 1970 night tonight at the Penguins. Maybe from there. I thought that was interesting. One of the people on Twitter, I think it was PittsburghHockey.net, had an interesting thing, Gene, saying about, well, you know, this was throwback to the 1970s and as homage to the 1970s. Well, I don't know what was happening there, but they paid tribute to the energy crisis, no gas. That was a clever line.
Very good.
Yeah, very good. Let's go out to Tony in Cambria. Hey, Tony, how you doing?
Hi, Bob and Gene. Hey, 3 things here. I heard Todd Haley, this was his last year.
He's under contract through this year only, yes.
Okay.
That doesn't mean it's his last year.
Oh, I mean his last year on his offense. Number 2, the Penguins, we won 2 Stanley Cups. They caught on to us. They don't want Penguins to win. They're showing every team's given everything. And number 3, if the Patriots are so intelligent, why did they let that quarterback go for just a second-round pick?
That's a good question, especially if you don't know. You know, there's this report, thanks for the call, coming out from ESPN tomorrow about internal problems between those 3 in New England. We'll see what it says, and will it be a distraction? Probably not. However, I had a problem with trading Jimmy Garoppolo, and quite frankly, they had 2 pretty good reserve quarterbacks there in Jacoby Brissett. Now, they got draft picks back. We'll see what they do with him, Gene. But Garoppolo, when he was in there, he showed that this is a guy of the future. And I guess the problem is, how long does Brady play? But you never know the answer to that, do you?
Well, you know, that's what makes it all the more curious is, you know, why would they rid themselves of him with Brady? You know, next year he'll start at 41. So, but the Patriots have done things in the past that didn't seem to make much sense, and it always worked out for them. Basically, you know, I'd love to have the problems that the Patriots front office has.
Let's go to Chance in Sheridan. What's up, Chance? How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Bob?
You're very excited. Why?
Oh, well, I'm excited. First of all, your daughter is doing fantastic on the news.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And she must have got her looks from the mother.
Okay, we're going to stop this now because we're talking sports, but I appreciate the compliments. Thank you very much. Do you have a question?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the Pirates season is not too far away. You're just talking about, are we going to trade McCutchen? The question is, why are we not doing anything? We have to get a starting pitcher. We have to get a power hitter. And it seems like there is no movement in this organization to truly make it happen.
Yeah.
We heard about Neil Walker coming over. We heard about Jaime Garcia. Where are they?
That's all lip service, right, Chance? We've heard these kind of things. Thanks for the call, and thank you. My wife is very beautiful, and thanks for that. I appreciate it. At least I hope you're watching. But, Gene, I mean, we haven't heard a word. They made a deal today for a guy they once had, and they traded. And they have him back now, but you know, I don't know what to expect from that.
Yeah, he was at AAA last year and had a 5.79 ERA. Tickets 323-5000.
And on that note, we'll take a break. It's 412-575-2600. Your calls are welcome right here live on Pittsburgh CW.